project management software and really make sure that we have everybody, on the same page and getting things done, and takes a lot off my plate. So that hire was the most critical, but it was the most recent one that I've made.
How'd you pick a good operations manager?
Man, so I consulted with a ton of different people in the agency space just on like, does this person need to have marketing background? Or if they don't need to have marketing background, what should I be looking for? And ultimately, one of my mentors told me about this called the Colby assessment.
Yeah.
And he said, his company, they have, I think, like 40 full-time team members in his agency. He was like, everybody takes this Colby assessment, and it's basically 4 different categories with a score of 0 to 10. And he told me, he's like, your operations manager, typically needs to be at this level for these 4 categories. And so I interviewed about 4 different people, and all pretty serious candidates. And each person I had to take this Colby assessment. It was like $50 a person to take it. But, I was like, it's going to be worth it. And so when I found her, the connection was there. She didn't even have like full-on marketing experience, but she had the operational background just in a different industry. But she thought like an operations manager. And then she took this Colby assessment and just knocked it out of the park as far as like some of the fact finder and follow through things that we needed. And, it kind of worked out really well that when we brought her on, she saw the kind of some of the things that were a mess, I mean, honestly, and she was able to kind of put those puzzle pieces together in a way that my brain just does not, comprehend. And I hired her through LinkedIn. I posted a job on LinkedIn. I think I boosted it, used $600, I think, in ad spend on LinkedIn, and that's how I found her.
That's great. Yeah, I love Kobe. What's her quick start? Do you know? Is she a high quick start or a low quick start?
No, so she's a low quick start, but a high follow through. I'm a super high quick start and a low follow through, which is your typical entrepreneur.
Yeah, totally. So we actually use Kobe as well, and so for all of our project managers, we do the same thing. Like they have to meet a certain bar on their Kobe assessment, and then something that we've found or I've found is that there's a couple different kinds of op managers or project managers. They're similar, right? Is that you are going to, the ones that are more high quick start are usually more people focused, and the ones that are lower quick start are more process focused. So some people love to just go in and just manage processes and just stay in those and then repeat them. And some people like to kind of build them and then get out of them and then go and meet new people and do new things. So that's one little added nuance on top of that. But I love the Kobe assessment. We use that pretty much for every hire, but especially for project managers.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've started to use it now with like account managers that we're hiring too. It's like, okay, we need to make sure that our account managers are high fact finders. Like, they need to be detail oriented, but they also need to be, high follow through as well, because if, they're going to say that they're going to get something for the client, like we got to make sure that they are doing that. And unfortunately, I've learned that the hard way, because I've hired an account manager who was a low follow through like me, because you think, oh, I want to hire someone like me because we'll get along and all this. But then you realize like, oh, they have the same weaknesses that I do. And, I'm not great in that role. While I'm a great communicator, I'm always wanting to start and do so many different things that it's hard for me just to focus on one task deeply.
Yeah, we've went back and forth on that. So we for a while we were like, okay, we're basically just going to have like more of a project manager type person managing the accounts, which is great because you get everything done. But sometimes they don't know how to communicate the value. So how do you balance that? Like, I'm interested to hear that, because we've gone both ways. So I don't have the answer. I'm just curious of what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're trying to figure that part out of it always as well. But we have the account manager is like pretty much the sole contact for the client. So they are just the communication vessel between the client and us and the client. And then they come back, and then we'll come to our marketing manager and basically let them know, hey, here's X, Y, and Z, what the client's saying. Here's what we may need to do on that. And then the account manager, the marketing manager, and the operations manager kind of all meet together, multiple times throughout the week at that point, to then delegate, what tasks need to be delegated to which team member, how that needs to be put into our ClickUp project management system. And then the account manager then knows what's going on and then can communicate that back to the client. So the marketing manager is really involved in that communication with the account manager. But right now it's the account manager is pretty much the communication person with they have to have a pretty good understanding though of exactly what we do, so they're not just communicators, like they're also kind of helping present ideas on calls and that sort of thing too. So it's kind of a balance of the two.
Yeah, that's interesting. So one thing that we've learned is that for project managers, kind of like you did, or an ops manager, they don't need to have dental experience or marketing experience. They need to be good at what they're good at, and they'll be able to figure out what they need to do to support the company. We've found that for account managers, it's account management experience is huge. Like that's the biggest component. And then you can teach dental and marketing. Now for some of our leadership, we really like to have people who have that dental experience in there. So we have a lot of people who have tons of dental background, people from other, large organizations in the dental world, like working at dental practices. So we've kind of seen that balance. What is on the account management side, what have you found to be successful? Do you want them to have the marketing experience? Do you want account management experience? Do you want the industry specific niche that you're in experience? A little bit of all. Like how do you tackle that?
Yeah. So first and foremost, like they have to be great communicators. They have to be people. I guess would be the way to say that. But yeah. So our account managers, first thing I look at is, do they have that experience of managing accounts, managing multiple accounts, and can they do that and stay organized? So that's kind of first and foremost. The second most importance there would then be marketing. But again, a lot of the marketing aspects can be taught. But if they have marketing background, even if it's just fairly general, then that's a plus. And then third on that list, honestly, is the industry experience, because it's there probably are some good like dental assistants or people like that who kind of are getting out of the op and wanting to work more remote. We just haven't hired anybody like that, not because for any particular reason. We just haven't ran across any that have applied. But I would say that just from my personal experience, the account manager doesn't necessarily need that industry experience, because they're going to learn through talking and communicating with the clients, and then training with whoever they're training under. Like they're going to pick up on what's going on, what some of the lingo is, what PPO is versus fee for service. And yeah, so I think that's probably the least important, and that's probably where too many agencies get hung up, is they think that account manager needs to have that exact industry experience, when a lot of that is can be taught. It's the intangibles like communicating that you can't teach.